the police's use of facial recognition technology. What do you think to all of this? The College of Policing today has published new guidelines for forces in England and Wales. It says the technology will help catch dangerous offenders. However, obviously, it's been criticised by civil liberty groups. Big Brother Watch has called it Orwellian and described it as an atrocious policy. A previous trial, by the way, was ruled to have breached privacy rights as it also broke equalities law, but South Wales Police started using the technology again last week. So what do we think? Facial recognition technology. I'll start with you on this, Peter. Are you in favour of this? Is it a good thing or not?
I'm not in favour at the moment, and you can absolutely see it going wrong. And when you read the whole story, it's not just about suspects. Remember, there's a difference between a suspect and someone convicted. It's not just about suspects, it's about victims and witnesses. So when you... and I generally have a lot of respect for the police, and although the Met have made huge mistakes that contribute to a crisis in public trust, I do think a lot of rank-and-file police are doing a very tough job in exposing themselves to danger. But this story, this suggestion about facial recognition, it kind of merges together state power, personal data, and as always with the state, a risk of massive IT failure. So I am very concerned.
Yeah, there is. You hit on something interesting there when you say about the state and IT failures. I've just highlighted another failed IT project, not facial recognition, I have to say, but an IT project in Manchester Police, Great Manchester Police, that's gone wrong, or sorry, should I say not fit for purpose. There is a real flaw in public sector track records when it comes to IT systems. They don't seem to be very good at it. But facial recognition as a principle, Lisa, are you anti this or?
I'm completely anti it. I think, and you said you've got great respect for the police. I don't have a lot of respect for the police. I've been on the wrong side of their values, we should say, sometimes. I used to do a lot of protests.
What does that mean?
Well, I used to do a lot of protests. I used to go on a lot of protests and, I used to get picked out of the crowd as, a person of interest.
Have you got a criminal record for your protesting?
No, I haven't, because every time they arrested me, and this is the really crazy thing, every time they arrested me, they was really arresting me to sort of prove a point to the rest of the crowd. And when it actually got to court, there was never any evidence that I'd done anything.
You're easy to spot though with your hair.
Well, yeah.
They'd be like, how many troublemakers can we catch with fluorescent yellow hair? You'd stand out.
So being on that other side where, I have been picked out of a crowd because of, whatever reason. Once I got done for joint enterprise, which they normally only try and try you with if it's something to do with sort of a murder.
Yeah, joint enterprise, just for the people that are not familiar, just correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. It's just like, for example, if someone gets stabbed, it's not just the stabber that can get done.
Yes, it's everybody there.
All of you.
But they usually use it for sort of organised crime. But on this occasion, they arrested me because I allegedly put a sticker on a window. And in the end, they realised that I hadn't done this because they looked at the CCTV. And so instead of letting it go, what they did is they did joint enterprise, that I was near someone who put a sticker on a window.
Do you know what the moral of the story is? Don't hang around with people that are sticking stickers on other people's window. That is the moral of that story.
So anyway...
Michael Heaver, facial recognition, are you up for it or not?
Well, there's always a balance, isn't it? At the end of the day, people want, the police do have a very hard job. People want them to solve crimes as much as possible. The technology is always evolving, so the possibility to bring things in like this is always going to be there. But absolutely, I think it's right to be, to question what this could mean. What would happen, for instance, if the system was hacked and some of this data got into the hands of criminals? What if you had the case of people leaving data around on trains and things like that? So you do have to look at the fail-safe mechanisms that you have with this. Ultimately, on balance, though, I think when it comes to the British public, they will go along with a lot of this stuff if it actually provably helps increase conviction rates and solve more crimes.
Yeah, I've got to say... Right, as a principle, let's be honest about this. There's a lot of wrong-uns roaming the streets, right, that should be caught, should probably be in prison, and they are not. So anything, quite frankly, that helps catch these people, I am in favour of. However, when you start looking at some of the information here, 4 out of 5 people identified in the Metropolitan Police's facial recognition technology as possible suspects are innocent. It goes on to say the system is 81% inaccurate. So I've got to say, I don't get huge levels of confidence there from the old technology. But, you know, I don't know, if someone's committed a crime against you and this software helps track them down, Peter, you'd be grateful for that, wouldn't you?
I think that's a very emotive question about something that's ultimately got to be evidence-led.
What? What does that mean? If someone commits a crime against you, you would be grateful that the perpetrator gets caught, whatever the technology used.
Not if someone, not if, say, I suffered a minor crime like assault, and then someone was wrongly convicted for a much more serious crime. And we know that in, you know, British history and like in many nations, there have been gross miscarriages of justice over the last 50 years. I don't need to recite them all now. So, no, I think that wouldn't give me comfort, simply having one person convicted because they'd, you know, bashed me on the nose in a pub.
Well, I'm an anomaly then, because if someone attacks me or does anything to one of my loved ones, I absolutely want them caught by any means necessary, quite frankly.
Yeah,
By any means necessary?
Yeah, by any means necessary. If they've done something wrong, if they've assaulted me or a loved one, quite frankly, yeah, I do. I want them caught and I want them punished. But by any means necessary,
we all want criminals punished, but by any means necessary?
Yeah.
I think what we've got
Yes.
to do is...
I don't know why that's controversial. Yes.
I think we've got to look at what we've already got. I mean, we are the most sort of camered up CCTV country in the world. So, you know, how much of this security do we need?
But on balance, if you looked at CCTV and said to people, do you think it's been a good or a bad thing? Obviously, invasion of privacy versus solving cases and giving irrefutable proof and convicting some very dangerous people. I think on the whole, people would be in favour of CCTV, so perhaps the same would happen.
I mean, I've always been very sort of, when it comes to security, the state securitising everything, I've always been very suspicious. But even I would admit that CCTV has been helpful. Even I would admit that. But facial recognition is going a bit further, because facial recognition, what they are looking for mostly is people who may commit a crime. You know, it's a bit Minority Report.
Well, Patrick's emailed in with a little quotation. He who would give up liberties for a little safety deserves neither safeties or liberties. There you go. Bit of food for thought there.